Hey everyone, welcome. It is Wednesday, May 6th, 2020, and it's about 4:06 p.m. My name is George Ortega, and this is weekday coronavirus-driven mind stuff. I hope you're having a good day. So, I just all right, first thing I want to talk about is I started talking to this woman on the phone at 7. I mean, we talked through Zoom actually because the sound quality of Zoom is so much clearer than cell phone service. That makes no sense. In other words, Sprint, AT&T, Verizon, you know, they should be able to make our cell service, which we're paying a lot of money for, to sound as clear as Zoom, which is free. Anyway, now, the thing, of course, is that Zoom goes through the internet, but AT&T and Verizon and Sprint and they can all do the same thing. I mean, there's really not an excuse. I'm like, they've said that over the years, people have stopped using the phone as much as before, and I think that's probably an under the radar reason that people don't realize that the phone call quality is so inconsistent that they really should work on that. All right. So anyway, I'm talking to this woman that I met, and this woman, I'm in love with this woman, and she doesn't allow me to talk about her, right? And what's cool is, well, I'm not going to say any more about it. I'm not going to say her name or anything, that reveals who she is. But anyway, we're talking, and we talked for 11 hours straight. I mean, I couldn't believe it. We started at 7, and 7 last night. We ended at 6 this morning. And she was, at that point I said, I'm fading. So I bailed out. Well, it was partly because, she was just talking, and I was listening. And she was talking about major, personal problems she has, whatever, you know. I wonder if it's that sometimes these things, because people say, well, I'm a very private person, don't talk about me, right? But when you're with your friends and stuff, your support system, you generally talk about what's going on in your life, and other people happen to be part of your life. So, there's never really that much clarity in terms of what is necessary to say. In other words, she was, I mean, I really have very strong positive feelings for this woman, but yeah, I mean, it was relentless, and I feel bad for her because she's going through well, I think one thing I could say, she's afraid, she hasn't been working for a while, and she's afraid of losing her partner, whatever. So again, no, even with that, actually, I'm going to explore this before I go any further. Because, I used to be Orthodox Jewish, and one of the laws is you're not supposed to talk about anyone. In other words, let's say you went to the movies and you saw somebody that you know. According to this interpretation of Jewish law, because the Jewish law says one rabbi says one thing, another rabbi says another, and sometimes they form consensus. But this I found in the code of Jewish law. There's laws of Lashon Hara, they're called, the laws of the evil tongue. So basically, the extreme interpretations, you go to the movies and you see an acquaintance, and you're not supposed to tell a friend of yours, oh yeah, I saw so and so at the movies, and so I don't know. I kind of lean toward more openness, and the reason for that is because so and so might have told their boss that that they weren't feeling that well, so it's, I mean, I think I've read reasons like that for that, but anyway, and I don't have a close friend to talk with, really. I mean, she's actually becoming my closest friend, and I'm getting really close, and I'll talk a bit more about the dynamics of why she kind of did what she did, because I think it had a positive intent and hopefully a positive effect. But all right, I lost my train of thought. Anyway, so all right, so we're talking, and it was cool because like at 9 o'clock I opened my room, 9 p.m. So we were talking for 2 hours by that time, and then we joined my room, and she joined. So like it was a kind of like we joined a party. It's like together, we went to a party because there were like 4 or 5 of us there just talking. Because it's a nightly party, I open the room every night at 9, and that's my way of connecting. I'm meeting more and more new people. Very cool experience. Zoom's amazing. So anyway, so like, we leave the room at, I don't know, 12:30, 1 o'clock or so. And in other words, we basically, in Zoom, well, no, it was the last person, who was with us, there were 3 of us for a while. And so, that person left the room. So it was just her and I. And so then we just like continued to talk until 6. And so she's going on in depth at length about I think it's all right to say, yeah, she's got a health problem that doctors don't understand. It's physical. I don't think I have to go into any more detail on that. But like she's going on and on about it, and I'm listening, and then at the end, I start to like ask questions, and maybe because that's what people do. It's not just men. Women do this also. so I'm asking her questions, and then she says, well, I'm not telling you because I want advice from you. I've gotten advice. I've told this to a lot of people, and nobody gives me any advice. And she says, I probably talk about this too much. So I'm thinking to myself, she's talking about this to a lot of people, and she probably, maybe people have given her advice. That, who knows? Like we're not doctors, right? And the doctors on email. But my question was, well, why was she doing this? In other words, like she was kind of like when she went there, she was like audibly upset, and I was hearing it, and I was like, what the? And so all right, so then why might she have done this? At least in my case. All right, and I'm guessing that when I first last week or so, I just started to have really strong feelings about her because she happens to be an artist, and we were connecting on that wavelength, which is really different from the way accountants and lawyers and stuff talk. We have a different way of seeing the world, and unfortunately in my life, I have known and interacted with very few artists. But anyway, so I'm feeling connected with her. I'm telling her, that told her I thought I was falling in love with her, and I think I am, which is great. So I think she's beginning to develop feelings for me. So this whole hours, there must have been 3-4 hours of her telling me like, all the doctors he's been to and all this stuff, and she knows her stuff. She's bright. She's really, really sharp, and she knows her stuff in terms of like what she researched about this. So anyway, my guess is like she's beginning to notice feelings toward me. And I guess this was a test. She wants to see, let me put this guy through like 3 hours of like, crazy, whatever it is. And if he really likes me, then I'll talk to him tomorrow. Then, I'll hear from him again. That's the only, and actually we can go even further than that, because I think, we're both kind of like beyond the age of having kids, I think. I don't know what her age is actually. We haven't talked about that. But for younger women, and even I think this is biological, so I think it probably works for older women also. It's hardwired into us. So I have a feeling that women kind of like put men through these kinds of like roller coaster, it's a good term. It's like boot camp type things, because they want to be sure, because like kids, little babies and infants, they don't make sense. And they're just crying all the time for whatever, right? And we don't get it. We don't, it's been so long since we were kids. And so I think part of this is not just to have her have some confidence that I really, really care for her, that my feelings are strong. But I think it's also because, as a woman, I think this is hardwired into us. This is probably genetic. She's testing me because she wants to be sure that I can deal with crazy. In other words, like because for example, if we were younger and she was testing me out to see if I'd be a proper father, so because little kids are gonna go crazy or whatever. So that's a test in that way to see how I handle, crazy. I think I did a good job. But anyway, but it just blew my mind. I mean, like, this is the second night that we've talked for like 6-7 hours, and I leave the phone call and say she's out of her freaking mind. And then I remind myself, well, so am I, and so it's pretty much everyone else. So whatever. All right. But anyways, like, I started the day late as a result of that, but I got some stuff done. I wasn't able to get some laundry done because there's somebody, using laundry, but I finally straightened up. I don't know if I mentioned that I wanted to straighten up. I think I may have mentioned it yesterday, the day before, but I really, I did an excellent job, and there's a few more things I got to do, I want to do, but it's looking better. And it actually was what was so cool. So that this is like a really, really cool thing that we did is like, I needed to take a walk, and I can talk about myself. I guess I live on Old Mamaroneck, and, I grew up in the Highlands area, So what I did is I took my phone, Zoom camera, and I'm walking along and kind of like giving her a guided tour. I'm not really talking so much about it because there's a beautiful house. She's an artist. And, but we were just basically having a conversation. She was kind of like seeing what I was seeing. It was so cool. I showed her my old junior high school, Highlands Junior High School. That's now a middle school. It used to be White Plains High School. Nice building. It's great they've kept it. I guess they've renovated the inside because like outside, it's a stone building. It looks kind of like a castle in a way. It's very cool thing. Anyway, so that was a really, really fun part of the day. And she has such wonderful qualities, such a wonderful person. When she talks, she can explain very complicated, convoluted matters, that involve a lot of information in a way that I can follow so easily. Because I have a feeling that she's, as we got to know each other, she's kind of gotten accustomed to my style of listening, as I hope I have, her. And so like, she's such a great communicator. I mean, like, so in other words, like, part of the cool thing, so part of the reason why, it wasn't so horrible, just like 3 hours of like, for her, the issues she's dealing with, is because she was explaining them so intelligently, and I was, she was allowing me to listen to them. So anyway, it's 14 minutes and 25 seconds left on this episode. And again, like, so I got to join a group at 5. This woman runs a support group where we kind of like talk about, anxiety, depression, just like the feelings that, the difficult emotional challenges of this time, and we're open. It's a very cool group. I mentioned her before. She used to be a psych nurse. She wants to get a degree as a nurse practitioner so she can go into therapy. So she's really bright too. And she's, which is interesting because I kind of liked her. I was kind of like moving toward her until this new person. And I guess, like, I'm so clueless in that area that, I think I'm putting my iron in a few fires or whatever, because I don't know what's going to happen. So many times before, like, I put all my eggs in one basket, one woman, and, it doesn't work out. So this is a new strategy. I mean, the woman I talked to last night is, I think, the woman I'm focused on most. But again, I'm keeping my options open because you never know. Because this other one I really like because she's so sensitive. I mean, she runs this group. She's so calm and patient, and like everyone else, she's got her problems also, of course. But okay. So anyway, so like, I'll join her group at 5, and then I don't have to open up my group until 9. So I think after that, I'm going to take a walk. I got to get some tomatoes, and I want to get some apples, because like, and or bananas, do some food shopping. And I think I may go to ShopRite for that, because I have the big bags of apples for like $4. I could go to Trader Joe's, get organic apples for $4, which I should do actually, because like, so it's like, so organic apples are healthier than regular apples, right? But on the other hand, not taking a bus is healthier than taking a bus. So I think I'm going to stay in town. All right. But so, yeah, so like, what else? All right, so I'm following the market. The market, didn't move that much today, because like the market for me is a barometer of people's emotions, people's optimism, pessimism. So right now, it hasn't really moved much this week. And so it's kind of like, my take on that is like, people really don't know what's going on. And I kind of am getting a sense of what's going on. And it really involves just the numbers. 18, how many people are jobless? I think 18,000 people lost jobs, but 32,000 people filed for unemployment insurance. Now, I don't understand this disparity, because that was mentioned in an NPR article today, and they didn't talk about, whatever. Economics is definitely not my field, except for a very small area of it, whatever. But so yeah, and I'm looking through the, New York Times, Washington Post, CNN, Google News, and none of them really have anything, So today, nothing is happening, or the perhaps better stated, the media is choosing to not present anything today. Because sometimes I think there could be a big story today that maybe they'll leave until Thursday or Friday. Obviously, the reasons are political, because everything's political. Corporations are political, the media is political, the government's political. Everything's political in a certain sense. But so anyway, I got up and I didn't know what I wanted to do, and I was feeling a little, oh my God, because it was like, I think I slept until about 2, and so that was like 7 hours sleep. So I was glad to, it's like, I finally got to sleep around, I guess, 7. So I don't know, whatever, something like that. So I played some bass. I was playing to like America, it's a 70s group, and a few other things. Ventura Highway, Muskrat Love, and then some other stuff. I don't know, but it felt really good. I'm kind of like really getting good at bass, which is great. I've been trying to like get good in an instrument. It's been guitar for years. But now I've realized after so many years, now bass is my instrument. It could be that I return to the guitar eventually, but not anytime soon, because I'm having so much of a good time just getting good at bass. And then I just had some energy. I just let me straighten out. I did like the dishes. Oh, and then when I got back from that walk through my old neighborhood, Highlands, I showed her where I used to live, the house and all, and because partly because I kind of like, she wants to get out of the city. She lives in Manhattan. And so I'm kind of like hoping she'll come in, into White Plains, live here. And, so I'm showing her how peaceful this place is. But anyway, so I come back, and then she wants a tour of the place. And so like, so I just like take her out. I show her my kitchen, my closet, it's a studio apartment. So like I show her where I'm usually seated when we do the Zoom rooms, the parties and stuff, and my show computer that I'm on now. And that was fun. I gave her a tour. I showed her the bathroom. The bathroom's not too bad. So what else? 8 minutes left. Okay. And so yeah, so I did some dishes, and then I just felt like putting stuff away. So I straightened up the stuff. It wasn't, a lot. It took me maybe 20 minutes tops, I guess. But sometimes I'll leave that way for days, and I don't know why. I just look at it and like, who knows? Um, so I got a wonderful message from this woman that runs another meetup group that's about connecting. I told you about it. It's like, she broke us up into like 5 different groups with 2 people each, and we gazed at each other for about a minute. Then we went back to the room and talked about it. And so like she asked me for suggestions on how to run the group, and I just like raved about the way she runs it already. I said, you run it so well, it's hard to give, and it's true. Some people are very intuitive about this, and she's really young. Otherwise, I might want to go after her. But so like she wrote me asking questions, and I wrote her a really nice response back. Because like, the message, the initial message asking for advice she wrote me was so nice. I mean, like, it was unbelievably nice, grateful, and so I took a lot of time to come up with ideas. I told her, I was a bit rushed yesterday, so I didn't work on it as much as I could have perhaps, but so then like she wrote me another email today, or a message, whatever. It's because we communicate through Meetup. Meetup has that feature, and again, it was a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful message. So she's got a room open tomorrow. I'm going to join that, and hopefully everything will go as well as it did the first time. I hope it does. And so yeah, so like, for example, she wanted advice in terms of what exercises to lead, right? So one exercise I mentioned to her is like asking, for example, people, well, what do you think the world needs most? Wait a minute. You already know that because I went through that yesterday. I forgot. Okay, so yeah, so like anyway, so I'm going to try to come up with more ideas. Because what she's doing, I told her, like, scale it up, train people to do what you're doing. They're not going to do it as well as you do, fine, but they'll do it well enough to get people into this mode of like, connecting and like, connecting in a very positive, supportive, nurturing way, because that's really what the group is about. Just like delving deep into our emotional selves, our relational selves, with each other. Really good. Okay. So what else? What else? 4 minutes and 41 seconds left to go. And I haven't figured out the lighting. I mean, it seems to me, I don't know if it's my screen or something, but it seems that it's a little too dark. And again, I just haven't figured out what to do. Excuse me, I think I have an answer. I think I just need to have a spotlight on me, which I don't really like so much, but to get a better, clearer picture, it's probably just necessary. Okay. So I'm looking around. Yeah, I mean, like, things are like, so like, again, at 5 o'clock, I'll go to the other camera that I have set up on, on this like flattened futon that I just like either sit up against the wall or put my head against the wall as I'm just like lying down. Like, we go for hours and hours. I'm going to sit in this chair for like hours and hours and hours. And the other thing is like I have the computer hooked into the TV, 42-inch screen. So it's much, much more pleasant experience. People are bigger and you can see them better and feel them better and understand what they're saying better. So it's really good in that way. Okay, what else? What else? Running out of information, which is kind of cool because, like, I mean, you never run out of information. So we just censor stuff. We say, oh, no, this isn't like, worth saying. No, this isn't. And who knows? Sometimes we're right. Sometimes, I mean, like, I may have a very small audience because of that, whatever. And actually, I'm going to try one thing. All right, that worked a little. That actually, I kind of like that because it's not totally in my face. I've got this light going to the side. Yes. Okay. So I may go with this the way it is. Okay. What else? I just checked to make sure that the mic was working because I checked it before, but I just had that feeling that I needed to do that, and I don't know why. It just came into my mind because that's how these thoughts come to us. They just come into our minds from who knows where, somewhere in the deep recesses of our unconscious, and, gets very, very technical and involved and spiritually. And so we talked about God for a while, this woman that I'm falling in love with, and we were kind of like, talking about like, that God has always, she doesn't really believe in God, but when I say that my conception of God is like Einstein's, that God and the universe are synonymous, she gets that. So we were kind of talking about the same thing. And so just like the idea of like, that, because then we're talking about dying, what happens after we die, if anything happens, and like, and she says, well, I wouldn't want to live for like, ever and ever and ever. That get kind of like boring and stuff. My personal belief is that like, if we all go to heaven, it's all bliss. By definition, it couldn't possibly be boring for even a single second. But she expresses a very popular sentiment. But then we're talking about the eternal nature of God, like the reality, the universe stuff. This reality that we're in has always existed, which is like, that blows our minds. I mean, I'm sorry, we cannot go there. I mean, like we can understand that conceptually, but the realization is so powerful that we say, well, how does that work? We don't. All right, 57 seconds. This is George Ortega for weekday coronavirus-driven mind stuff. Watch us on White Plains Media. White Plains Media. I think that's gotta make sure it's the station, whatever. Channels 76 Optimum, 45 Verizon, every weeknight, Monday through Friday at 5 o'clock. And I record these shows, generally speaking, I've been doing it so far, the day before. So, all right, I hope you guys are doing well, navigating this time, using it as a blessing in disguise if you can. There are a lot of good things that come from this, even though it's difficult for all of us. Okay, thank you for watching, and I will see you next time right here on White Plains Community Media.